Hello, everybody. Today we bring to you MinMax battle number 4. We are super excited about Legacy these days because of the ban on Dreadhorde Arcanist, Oko Thief of Crowns, and Arkham's Astrolabe, making the format basically kind of regressing the power level back to what it was before 2019 and the snowpocalypse, I guess is a good way of phrasing it. That plus the ability for us to all play real basic lands again kind of changed the format quite a bit from what it was initially. So in terms of format for this battle, we're going to do something a little bit different and hopefully a little bit more simple and easy to follow. We have a total of 3 decks on each of us, so 3 versus 3. And from the get-go, we actually pick a deck for slot A, slot B, and slot C. And then slot A plays against slot A, slot B versus slot B, and then slot C versus slot C. We used a third party, in this case our good friend Jarvis Yu, who we sent both of our deck lists to in the order that we'd like to play them in, and he let us know what the matchups would be. So without further ado, right in front of you, now you see my first deck, which is Sneak and Show. I like this deck quite a lot. I think with the power level regressing in the format quite a bit, and Delver being a little bit less of an oppressive force, a deck like Sneak and Show can kind of come in and take the reins a little bit overall, and its bad matchups are less frequent, so to speak. So the deck list, the 75 specifically here, I did not tune at all myself. This is all JPA93, Jonathan Angelescu. His deck, he's been on a tear with it for a very, very long time, and I think it's a solid option, and I'll be playing against Max on Doomsday for our first match. My second deck is a 2021 take on an old favorite of mine. It's a young Pyromancer Grixis deck, but using basically Callum Smith, White Faces on Magic Online and Twitter and social media and whatnot, brewed up a version of this deck years ago, last year with Luris. And it was a Grixis mid-range deck with Luris and Of One Mind to kind of recycle Baleful Strixes, Young Pyromancers, and Baubles and so on, which worked really well. With Luris as the companion, kind of like in between Grixis Control and Grixis Delver, kind of in the slot there, so you could switch roles between what it needed to be. And then a couple weeks ago, he won the Saturday challenge with with an Esper version of One Mind. This spell costs 2 or less to cast. If you control a human and a non-human, draw 2 cards. So basically, if you have a human and a non-human in play, this is a 1 mana draw 2. So as much as of a sucker I am to have Divination be part of most of the decks I play, more on that later, I suppose. I'm a big fan of trying out this archetype, and this is my attempt to port those 2 ideas together. So it's a Grixis control deck, kind of centering around Young Pyromancer and Of One Mind, but it has kind of your Grixis control shell around it, a very 2018, 2019 reminiscent version of that shell. So Snapcaster Bolt. Cabal Therapy as the discard spell of choice because it works really well with Young Pyromancer, but I have thought these as the sideboard to supplement them post-board as well if my plan is to shred my opponent's hand. So some of the updates, obviously, to this deck are Plague Engineers, which I think is a great main deck creature, and it just is a solid option against most of the format, as well as copies of Liliana the Last Hope and Narset in the sideboard as well to kind of juke into the Planeswalker and heavy approach post-board as well. This deck will be playing against Max on Sharkstill, which is going to be a very interesting match to see for sure. There's a lot of removal I'm playing that is maybe not going to be as useful in that matchup specifically, but I think it'll allow for some very dynamic play for sure. And then lastly, this is Blue-White-Red Miracles. I've talked about a deck like this for on end, who knows how many hours, repeatedly, so I will try to keep this short, but the one thing you'll notice here that's different from most of the previous iterations of this deck is Mishra's Bauble being in the deck at all. So Mishra's Bauble, we kind of learned while we were playing Lurrus Miracles, when Lurrus was a companion, that Mishra's Bauble and Predict worked really well together. As well as the Miracle mechanic on its own. Mishra's Bauble was a 0 mana way to trigger a Miracle when you are pressed a mana overall. I've been a big fan of this card and how it interacts with most of the deck regardless. You also notice the omission of Counterbalance, which I don't think has aged particularly well, and is kind of difficult to line up counterbalances correctly in a format where things are more open. But overall, the deck list isn't super crazy or anything. You'll notice 3 Jaces, which usually I've learned that in most cases when I win with Miracles, it involves 3 Jaces being in my deck to some capacity. And then lastly, I wanted to bring attention to the Red Splash. So we're trying out the Red Splash for now because there's a lot of blue threatening things going on in the metagame, kind of as a baseline. And I think it's important to account for the desire to play like a stack of Blast post board right now. But you could definitely see cards like Back to Basics moving their way back into more prevalency in the metagame, and that would require reconfiguration of mana base, and maybe the red might no longer be needed. I will say that the mana base is a little difficult to balance with Mystic Sanctuaries and such, and the third color. But we'll see how that goes. This match will be Miracles versus Blue-Black Shadow on Max's side, which, if you're curious, I don't think is actually a good matchup for, as good of a matchup for Miracles as most people seem to think, because Source Splashers, while good, in Game 1, you'll win most of the time in Game 1s because of this card, but post-board, Shadow can become this very disruptive hand control and Liliana the Last Hope slamming onto the board type of deck while choking your mana and development overall. And your normal way of beating Liliana of the Veil, or Liliana the Last Hope while playing to the board Monastery Mentor is relatively answered by Plague Engineers and protecting those Plague Engineers. So that's something to definitely keep in mind as we progress to that match. But overall, I'm very much looking forward to it. So we're going to be playing all 3 matches regardless. So A versus A, B versus B, and C versus C, and so on. And each winner of the match will win 10 tickets. So that makes so that there's stakes tied to every single game. And we will see you for the battles when they begin. Okay, here we go. Round 1. We'll see how this goes. So it's going to be Sneak and Show versus Doomsday. Max wins the die roll. Make this one a bit smaller. Cool. I'm guessing he's evaluating, introducing a little bit more of the matchup. So this hand mostly is just wanting for mana, but I think it's still a toss back because you have 3 stone blanks. So I'll be mulliganing this. This is also unfortunately a mulligan, no mana, and a bunch of mana intensive cards in my hand. I will keep this. I'm going to toss back this Force of Will. And I'm on the draw. So I could see tossing back this island as well, because I just need one additional mana source. Yeah, I will high roll. Because if I draw a soul land, then I just win on the spot, assuming Max has an interaction. But we'll see. Cycling Street Width. Okay. So Max looks like did not hit mana sources, unfortunately. So if we hit a mana, we'll likely win. Okay. So it looks like Max kept a semi-risky hand. And is... I will Spell Pierce this. They're basically trading. If Max wants to force or something back, that's fine. Okay, Lotus Petal. So Max might have a hard cast Daze here, which could be problematic. So I'm gonna wait a turn, and it seems kind of weird. But if Max has a Force of Will, obviously that's an issue. But Hardcast Daze, I think, is the one thing that really, like, blows me out here. Okay. Yep. And exiling the Daze that I played around last turn, so... I just have to draw any of my enablers now. Nope, I'm gonna hold that though. Actually, I maybe should have played it to bluff Hardcast Force. Yep, that's fine. So both of us are left with nothing. I'm gonna play this now to bluff the Hardcast Force. In case that changes any decision making, basically. Low resources. There's 3 volcanics. I'll play this out. Okay. I have a mind to pop this. Sure. To fake him out. But this is some high stakes magic here, so. This is a tough brainstorm. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. I think this is a pass the turn Doomsday. Super weird game with mulligan to 5. Yep. Although, if it's possible that I do die if Max has the Veil in hand. So Badlands is interesting to know about. So post board red cards of some fashion. Edge of Autumn. Not Veil. That's the name of the card. Basically, the game ends if I hit a creature next turn, if this in fact is a pass the turn hand. Okay, so things to learn. Days, ideas, personal tutor. So this is the turbo version of Doomsday. Although red is super interesting. I've mostly seen the green splash for Veils. I've not seen red lately. Not since Arcanist got banned, I suppose. So this is in fact a pass the turn pile. So just gotta hit a creature. I hit. And that is game. Cool. Okay, so worked out in my favor that game, but not always common. So things I want to board in. I'm not super concerned with defense grids, I don't think, because it's a combo mirror match, and my forces are also pretty valuable in situations like that. So things I think I definitely want are the clicks. And not really much else. I'm not expecting ways to get around Sneak Attack and Show and Tell from Max's deck. So I'm not expecting Containment Priest or anything along those lines. So I think just the clicks are what I want. And I could see boarding out Omnis in this matchup because I don't necessarily need, again, the Containment Priest win condition to worry about. And I think just speed is good, and Lotus Petals and the Spell Pierces and stuff let me defend my combo. And Max's deck does play a stack of Dazes, so I think I'm gonna go with that. Pretty straightforward sideboarding, I think. It's nothing too crazy, and I don't think I necessarily need hedges against anything specific. Consideration is Blood Moons, but I'm on the draw this game, and Max can play around it, I think, too, to some extent, unless I turbo it out early. And I also don't have as much information against his deck. Like, his game 1 deck is just... It's a Doomsday deck. It's nothing. There's nothing crazy going on in it. All right, game 2. I think I will keep this hand on the draw. Okay, so Max is mulliganing to 6. I will keep. This isn't very it's not a very defensive hand, but I think both of us are going to slow down quite a bit post board. So, yep. So the two takes are Lotus Petal, Brainstorm, or Ponder. I think he'll probably take the Brainstorm. Unless his hand is like super fast, in which case he might take the pedal. We'll see. Okay, so that's the ponder gone. I'm gonna go ahead and play out the pedal and just pass the turn. Okay, so no blue mana again for Max. It's good for me, meaning no personal tutor. I should have maybe considered brainstorming on a turn there, but instead, that's fine. I'll brainstorm now, I think. Okay, now actually, since there's no blue source again, I'm gonna go ahead and just play this click, and if there's a daze involved, then Max will have to hardcast daze. Or pyroblast it. It's fine. We're gonna go for it. Because I have Force of Will back up. That should do it. Now Max has to win next turn, and I don't think it's going to be possible for 3 cards in hand to go off this turn. Cool. Alright, that is match 1 in our favor. Next up, we'll have Grixis Pyromancer versus Sharkstill. We'll see you for the next one. Alright, match number 2. We're up 10 tickets so far. Sneak and Show beating Doomsday skillfully with the massive amount of luck that we had. This is Grixis Pyromancer against Sharkstill. Super interesting. Won the die roll, which is great. I think it's actually a mulligan. I can't cast either of these anytime soon. I know I have 2 brainstorms, but I don't really have any other interactive elements, so I think I'm gonna go. Oh man. Okay. So we will unfortunately be going to 5, but this is a good 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and bottom this Coal Against Command and the Snapcaster Mage. I think I just want the brainstorms. So I don't know anything really about Max's deck list here. But traditionally speaking, standstill variants have sometimes played Wastelands, have sometimes played various other threat pieces, but the worst possible thing here would be a standstill on turn 2 for our mulligan to 5 hand. But Ponder is fine. Chose not to shuffle. I am, and it might be a little greedy to fire off this brainstorm here, but I'm looking for, well, Young Pyromancer for sure. I don't think I need more lands. I will go ahead and fetch an Underground Sea here. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Young Pyromancer, getting a Volcanic Islands. I don't want my Pyromancer to die while fetching, so this is the most scary thing here is probably a Spell Snare. Spell Snare, okay. I will keep these. The Dread board is probably not going to be super great, but particularly in this matchup, Standstill. Oof. Okay. Holding 5 in hand. I can't slam the Jace, unfortunately, and I know I have a land below it. Okay, so Max does not have a land drop. Meaning I'm gonna draw go. This is probably a 1/1 shark, if I had to guess. That's fine. My play might change here if he misses a land drop. Alright, so this is pretty bad, but considering the discard here, this is likely going to entice some sort of response. Force of Will, yep, makes sense. This is another shark, it seems like. A Brazen Borrower, sure. I think I'm actually going to cast the Of One Mind first. Cool. Those are all great. I will definitely take all of those. The Snapcaster Mage on top could be anything else, really. Stand still here again. So something to note here is Force of Will, Force of Will. There's 2 additional forces, and then I'm gonna pass. So there's 2 more Force of Wills and then 2 more Force of Negations as hard counter magic left in Max's deck. I'm fine with taking 1 for a little while. That's a great card. I'm gonna try to correct this now. The reason being, I have Force Navigation up for anything nonsensical. I wanted something to do next turn. I think maybe I could have also waited a turn. We'll see. This card is going to be pretty important, I think, because it'll destroy all of his pressure if he has like a Shark Tornado or something along those lines. Shark Typhoon, excuse me. Okay. He's debating on whether or not... Yep. I think I'm gonna pass again. Continue just taking 1 damage. To Philly. Probably elicit another response of some sort. A force of will. Pitching force of negation. Okay, so that's a lot of spells being pitched. This is another standstill. Okay, that's fine. Seems like to me that this will be a check. I'm just gonna slam this Jace here. Excellent. So I lose to a council judgment, seemingly. All. Sure. It's gonna be tough to deal with. Oops. Did it again. Great. Hold on to that. And the question is, how do we win? Beating a Shark Typhoon in play is going to be quite difficult game 1. So I think we have to kind of lean in on drawing Snapcaster Mages. Something to note here is a lot of Max's interactive elements have been pitched. So that's Force of Negation, Force of Will. There's another Force of Negation. Snapcaster Mage is fine. Targeting counter spell, seemingly. I'm gonna go ahead and just use this now. Alright. Hoping to draw a Snapcaster Mage. Not a Snapcaster Mage. Hmm. I think so. So there's an argument to be made to bolt the Teferi to prevent a neg 1, but I don't think it's actually that useful. The hull here is pretty scary though. Okay. Ponder. I am F6'd, so. I think we can call it quits here. But I'm curious to see more. Brainstorm first. Snapcaster Mage is good. This will likely meet the fate of a counterspell. Okay, so 2 counterspells. That's good to know about. And then 2 snares. Okay. Alright, I think we can pack up this one and go to the next game. Alright. So, things I definitely want in this matchup include Thoughtseize, so all of my Blasts, all of my Thoughtseizes, Narsets, and Flusterstorms. Not super interested in the bolts. The explosives is actually okay. Maybe. Not the biggest fan of the Plague Engineers. And the Dreadboard can probably also come out, getting replaced with more efficient things to be doing. 4 more cards. So this is actually pretty tough, and I sometimes run into this problem when playing control mirrors, is to have a lot of cards against them. So I can maybe cut the Flusters. Cut down to 2, and trim just cards here and there. Something like this. We'll try it. Alright, we're on the play, hoping for discard elements. Yeah, I'll keep this. Okay. I'll go ahead and just name Brainstorm. Cool. So Sword Splasher is Misty, Strand, Tundra, Shark Typhoon. Cool. Makes sense. Okay, so Strand, Shark, and Island gone. I'm actually just gonna fetch and pass here. That sounds kind of suspicious, but I maybe should have played that a little bit differently. Is likely a Tefeli. I don't really care about Shark Typhoon next turn, so I'm just gonna wait. If he wants to make a 2/2 Shark and pass the turn, that's fine with me. Yep, this is a 2/2 Shark. I don't think it's a Brainstorm. I will name Standstill. Jace. Island, Step. Cool. So Island, Island. Island, Island. Cool. So Snap Plow is an option. I'll just stand back. I have Hardcast Force. And Snapcaster. Oh, alright, so Island, Delta, Jace. So it's unfortunate that I can't pressure beyond. Snap. I have to let this go, unfortunately. Fetching here. Maybe another cantrip. Hardcast for spec. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna try to kill Jace. Trade here. Looking for a plow here. That's fine. The Snapcaster Mage is the most valuable card in my hand, so I'm definitely going to hold on to it if I can. Chose not to shuffle. Moat. Don't have answer to that. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I mean, I'll take the Jace that I have to definitely win this game with. Sure. I'll pop the Standstill now, cutting off as many resources as possible. Nice. Oops, no. Let's do this correctly. I still have a volcanic island to get, so... So I know about Caracas in hand. Now I get to just Fate Seal forever. I think we have this game. Yep. Yeah, I'll put that on the bottom. Oh wait, there's a Narset in play. Of course I wouldn't put that on the bottom. I think we're still okay though. I just totally forgot about the Narset. No. Cool. Alright, so we got game 2. That moat doesn't change anything about how I sideboarded, I don't think. So I will keep doing the thing I'm doing, I guess. Again, I'm cool with not having the young Pyromancers in my deck because we're not going to be able to really apply too much pressure, I feel like. With them, and they're mostly just a way to play to the board and get rid of walkers as we need. Moat is maybe an issue, but again... Alright, sorry about that, we're back. Had a small little break there, so this hand is great. I will keep it. I will have to name Standstill with this Cabal Therapy, though, unfortunately, because I don't think I can really do a ton. Well, we'll see. Let's Volk pass. Interesting. So Force of Willing to protect the Standstill means that... I'm not 100% certain what that actually does mean, to be honest. But I have a mana to give still, so... I will continue waiting. This is a shark, I'm guessing? Makes sense. I was considering brainstorming there, but I think I'll continue waiting. I have an answer to the sharks. Okay, cool. I'll do this now. Sure. Whoops. There we go. Forgot to change scenes. I'm gonna name Snapcaster Mage. Okay, so we hit Force Negation, Brazen Borrower. The Force Negation. Oops. Two lands. I don't think I need either of those yet. Arid Mesa Island, yep. So Scalding Tarn and Island in hand for Max here. So this preordain, you can find something pretty good, hopefully. That's good. Okay, so I'm playing like this kind of weird tempo deck. I have to hopefully draw an answer to this shark in the next few turns, but I think we're likely to hit. I mean, it's possible that we don't, but... That's an answer to the shark. Okay, I feel really good about... I think the most threatening thing on Max's side would be another Shark Typhoon. I'm forcing that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bouncing a Snapcaster Mage there because Snapcaster plus Blast and Fluster. And that's game. Great. We'll be back for match 3. Miracles versus Blue Black Shadow. Sweet. We'll see you then. Bye. All right. Final match. This will be Blue Black Shadow versus Blue White Red Miracles. Max won the die roll, which is terrifying for me. But I will keep this hand. We're both keeping 7. Alright, so this probably means Stifle being held up, it seems. That's an excellent draw. But I think it's actually a shuffle. Yeah. It's fine, I'll let that resolve. Likely going to take the Narset. Makes sense. I mean, that card I think is actually just useless, though. I don't think it's actually good in this matchup at all. I'll just sit here. So it's unclear to me if Max is playing the version with Delver or not. So it kind of depends on what I see this turn in terms of sequencing my spells. We'll fire this off. Bloodstrand, I'll take it. The only way for me to fetch there really is if I were to like play a sorry, a Terminus or not. I was trying to think about what Max's hand looks like right now. I don't really see a cause to do anything. No. I'll ponder. I'm gonna shuffle this too. But I will play this out and pass. Yeah. This is a weird game, but I'm content here. This is likely a shadow then? Don't need this yet. I'll put this on top and just draw it for turn. It's fine. I'll fetch first. That's fine. I have a predict on top of my library. I'm not going to predict away the Entreat the Angels. I'll brainstorm now, though. Don't need to do anything yet. Shadow's fine. I'll fight here. This is okay. Nope. I think the plane's here, though. Done. Okay. I'll fetch now. Two Stifle's gone. MinMax has 8 cards in hand. I'm gonna go to 11 this turn. Yep. Go to 10. That is fine. I think the game is effectively over here. I don't think Max can beat these 3 cards in my hand. Unless it's like a Hymn to Turok, in which case that's terrifying, I suppose. This is a Gurmag? Yeah. Ethereal Forager, that's fine. Wasteland. So this, like, I believe Max is playing the version without Delvers. This is another Ethereal Forager. So the creature suite is 4 Death Shadows, 3 Foragers, and then maybe a Grimmack or two. Yep. So unless Max drew exactly a Force of Negation here, I should be in the clear to Brainstorm. So game ones, I think, are decidedly in Miracles' favor. But post-board, I think things become a lot more challenging as Max brings in things like Hymn to Turok, Liliana of the Valence, or sorry, Liliana of the Lost Hope, and so on. So I have to be super duper careful. I think we definitely want the Flusterstorms, this, and the Relic. Don't want any of my Force of Wills or my Force of Negations. Spell Snare is good against exactly Hymn to Turok and nothing else. I'm not the biggest fan of Narset in the matchup, and so it might seem kind of weird that cut a Terminus in the matchup, but because the matchup is very much about, like, Max is playing kind of this one-for-one control deck, primarily, and you have to respond to what Max is doing pretty much with as many one-for-one cards as possible, and I think this suite is a little bit better. But no, Stifle maybe changes that math a little bit. Maybe some of these back. We'll try it this way. I'm not 100% convinced about the sideboarding this matchup because Max is playing a pseudo tempo deck similar to the Grixis control deck I was playing last time, but he's not that aggressive. So I don't know, it's hard to say. I'm on the draw. I'll keep. The Relic here is the key card, because it's a protected draw, and I just don't like mulliganing that much, and this hand is perfectly serviceable. So like if Max has anything really. So like the baubles are actually really good in this matchup because taking the Ponder makes sense. I'm going to Relic on turn 1. I'm gonna go ahead and play out the Bauble, because it is my remaining cantrip, and I don't want to get discarded to Oblivion necessarily. But basically the game plan for Max here is look for a walker, and hope that's good enough. And I have to become the aggressive post board. Brainstorm on top. Good to know. Good to know. Oops. This probably necessitates some sort of response. Yep. So now I have 2 potential draws next turn. Brainstorm and Ponder. Okay. It's interesting that Max is leading with a Ponder here, meaning that it's likely the other card is a fetch. What is this? Oh, that makes sense. I should have maybe considered cracking it there. I'm not gonna pop the bauble yet in case. It's basically the worst possible scenario because Max will get back Force Invocation. All right. This is very bad. Fawn? Yeah, that makes sense. Go back to brainstorm that I already knew about. Alright. This draw is super important. I'm hoping that this baits out the Fawn. Don't want that. I don't think I need the punter either. I wanted to trade mana up. Yep. Like, I don't want the plow to get fawned, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Sorry. Yep, there's that brainstorm I knew about. This is rough. And if Max has land plus Liliana here, it's like super rough. Getting Ponder. Casting Ponder. So if I can line up a Plow plus a Pyroblast, I might be okay. Chose not to shuffle. The discard spell would be rough here too. Anything is... This is all bad news. Let me fetch. It's fine. Goes to 5. Okay, so I'm not dead yet, but it's pretty bad still. This is Liliana. Leg Engineer? That's fine too. That is not a problem. But I think I win. Unless there's a counter spell for this, I think I win. If I don't, I lose, so. Cool. Alright, well. We have a shot. Max is 3 cards versus my 1. I have 2 Ponders on top of my library. Wasteland, that's fine. And I have Fetch. I don't have to do anything yet. A fish. Oh, oops. That's actually going to cost me a lot. We'll see. I put the wrong card back. Put Ponder on top of my library. I need to find a red blast. Oops. Red blast or a plow. Well, unfortunately, neither. So close. All right, well. I don't think I want these forces at all on my deck. And I'm just gonna go like this. I think that lack of extra card there cost me the match. Cost me that game pretty heavily, unfortunately. But you know what happens? It totally happens. I'll definitely keep this hand. This hand is turn 1 Mentor Uninterrupt, or turn 3 Mentor plus Trigger and interactive elements. Definitely gonna keep. Contrary to the last MinMax battle, I think I'm in my wheelhouse now with these decks for sure. So hopefully it's made for some enjoyable Magic outside of that misstep last game. A mulliganing to 4. Oof. Okay. Well, passing here, I guess. Mulliganing to 4 is rough. No, I'll be disciplined. Max is shuffling. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a Plains now. Not gonna worry about Stifle anymore. Sure. Not shuffling. Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, if Max decides to burn a daze here, that's fine. Totally fine with me. I had the potential to like basically win the game on the spot, but I'm not super worried here, I don't think. Actually, maybe I should have waited one more turn in case of him. Winter Orb, that's fine. Funny. This is a fish. Dotsy is on top. Max will take probably the bauble? I'm not sure. Annoying, but I can deal with it. Alright, Max, did you draw exactly a daze? I'm willing to bet you didn't. Ha! He did. Super annoying. I feel like I'm getting massively outplayed this game. Both times I went for the mentor, it was super greedy, I feel like, but... Sure. Stifle as well? Jeez. A little bit tilted, but that's okay. Max is... I mean, it's on a Mulligan to 4, so, like, I feel as if he is somewhat entitled to doing a little bit better. Winter Orb has created a super weird game. Although I feel really behind, to be honest. Excuse me. I'll put that on top, see what Max does. Liliana. That's weird. I figured if Max had the Force, he would have forced something else? I don't know, that seems super weird to me. Like, waited to force that the thing I was gonna destroy the Liliana with? Yep. I felt pretty bad about how I played this game, to be honest. The Winter Orb messing up everything, really. Thankfully, there's still technically a way I can win this game, but it's going to be pretty risky. I need to draw a white source first. Snapcaster Mage would go a long way too. Yep. So the way I'm going to win this game, if I win, if I can, is to find and entreat the angels. But I need a white source first. Brazen Borrower. That's super tilting too. Oh gosh. Well, second time now Predict has messed with me. I haven't not seen anything of yet. Brainstorm? Excuse me. Terminus? Still have another shot. All right, so let me pause for a second. Okay, so basically Max won this match, but I think due to two kind of the same mistake, forgetting what card was on top, or I guess adventure cards with Predict interacting incorrectly, or I thought they interacted one way when they do not. So So this game kind of boiled down to Winter Orb and then the non-creature subgame with the last taupe as an emblem. What I was trying to say in chat was, if I had resolved that Predict correctly, I would have actually been able to do what the play I was describing, which was have a second white source in play and the Entreat the Angels in order to attack back for lethal. I would have been able to make one angel and taken the one zombie attack, and 1/4/4 would have been enough to win the game. So it's unfortunate it happens, but you know, that at the end of the day, I can't complain about winning 2-0 or 2-1 rather. So happy about the win for sure. I'm overall quite happy with how I played the games, but that last match came down to be really, really tight, and a lot of what we a lot of how we played these matches I think dictate how really cool interactive Legacy is right now. It's honestly a joy to play. I've played more in the past 2 weeks than I have the rest of this year combined, because the matches are so incremental and challenging. Each and every single turn matters so much because of the way the format's shaken out after the banning. So I'm super duper happy. I feel a lot better about my own play as well, which I think is important to note. I enjoy the decks that we've played, and I'm super duper looking forward to continuing on with Legacy and exploring the format more and hoping to hopefully bringing more content to you folks. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you seem to enjoy stuff like this. And check out minmaxblog.com for more hard-hitting pieces of Legacy, sometimes vintage, sometimes modern content. Thank you so much. Till next time.